So I have reason to believe that within the next 6 to 9 months, Iran is going to, or they're going to claim that Iran has attacked the U.S., primarily the U.S. Bank in California. And the reason why I think this, and it's the U.S. Bank Tower, one of the largest towers in all of California, and it's right in the center of downtown LA. The reason why I think this is the person who owns that property, who bought that property in September of 2020, is the same owner who owns the property of the World Trade Center. And when he got his extra $1 billion payout on the insurance compared to the cost they paid for the World Trade Centers before they went down, now granted, he can't use that insurance money for anything other than rebuilding the World Trade Centers, which is why he's building different towers of the new World Trade Centers. But with that being said, he's also bought 4 new complexes and neighborhoods in New York to rebuild it, which shows me they're trying to drive up the cost of living here and drive people out of poverty. So I feel that Larry Silverstein of the Silverstein Properties Incorporated, that owns the World Trade Centers and now as of September 2020 owns the U.S. Bank Tower in L.A., among starting a new commercial condos and resorts in Washington, he builds pristine luxury buildings, focusing more now from commercial to residential. So it builds to my mindset that if he's focusing to have extra money on commercial space, taking out the insurance policy will help him build up this area and also build his sustainability of tax write-offs and revenue to buy out more low-cost neighborhoods and build them up and make them more expensive to where people can't live there anymore. I don't like this guy. But the reason why I feel that Iran is going to make an attack there is because of 3 reasons. One, somebody in Trump's administration made word of that possibility earlier in the year. 2, Trump really can't see through with gaining control over oil and gas in Iran without a good reason to actually attack it. So they're going to use the attack in Los Angeles as the reason for them to have to invade Iran. The moment we take over Iran and we gain control of the oil, Russia and China is going to shoot back at us in one way or another. But before we get to that, there's another reason why I feel Iran is going to attack the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles. Not just because Silverstein took it over and his contracts with the CIA and, his involvement with the United Nations economic reform and focus has mainly focused only to the U.S. standards and not to the UN standards as people previously stated. But California is the only state in the U.S. that is contracted with the UN for the new Big 40 plan for the Big 40 super cities that have to be put in place by the year 2040. It's going to be like the Jetsons. Another reason why they're controlling the wildfires to burn down suburban areas so they can reconstructure it to the plan of the super city. But they still have to rebuild the city, and I thought about it, well, how would they manage to make that work? They couldn't afford it with the demolition cost and then the cost of construction. Well, they don't have to pay for demolition if it wasn't planned, and I thought about it. And my VA buddy made me scared crapless when he said that, because I thought, yeah, it worked with the World Trade Centers, it would work with the U.S. Bank, because it's in center of downtown. Yeah, it would take a lot of lives, but it would gain room for them to be able to take the oil and gas and invade Iran and rebuild Los Angeles to the super city it's required to be for the United Nations. Plus, it would get a good payment out to the mayor and his board of committee or governors there in California. The governor and the mayor would get a huge payout on insurances, not to mention with the National Guard being sent in to claim it was Iran, whether it was or it wasn't, to their benefit, because then they could just use that as another reason to control the rioters and control all the unrest that they've been trying to do with ICE. So instead of using ICE, now they'll have the National Guard and FBI involved due to a terrorist attack on the U.S. soil by Iran in California. So sometime in the next 6 to 9 months, Iran will attack the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles. It's going to be devastating, but it's going to give California its room to move forward with UN's plan, and it's going to give Trump the room to move forward with getting his oil control over Iran, especially now that Silverstein Properties is in charge of the bank, and that's the only commercial space they own outside of the World Trade Center area. Everything else is condos and luxury apartments and things like that. So what does that tell you?